Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we're back with another brand new video. Today's our video, me and we are here to sit down, break down, react and discuss a beautiful performance which saw all 3 points and a couple records broken. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, all eyes were on us going into this game to see if the records would fall, and by God did we go ahead and do it in a truly commanding, dominating performance where we got the football down and played some brilliant stuff in a place and on a park that good stuff usually doesn't get played on. Now before we go any further on with today's video and we jump to the actual game recap, there may be some people want to talk about Jamie Murphy's transfer to Hibs, but we'll speak about that in great detail tomorrow's video. We'll break it all down, we'll discuss it then and there. Let's concentrate on this game of football then, shall we? Because if I was combining them, this would be like 35 minutes. Let's be brutally honest, none of yous want this for 35 minutes. Even my missus doesn't. But painful truths to one side, back on track with the actual football. I'm a very delighted guy because of the standard of football we are playing in tricky places. Now, I thought everything was right today. We all joke on this channel, tempo. And we saw the negative of that at Livingston. But since that game, there has been tweaks and changes, and I just feel like we are flowing in the right direction. We've got possession, and we are bossing possession, but it's possession, no just for possession's sake. And I know I did say a lot of possession in that sentence here, but it's true, it is possession with a purpose, and that was perfectly highlighted in the 15th minute of this game where we get the ball to Connor Goldson, and instead of what we've maybe done in the past where it goes back and forth between the two centre halves for about 7 minutes till we're all getting grey hairs, it's one touch by Connor Goldson. He gets his head up and he hits an absolute pinpoint perfect ball 30 yards right to Barisic. I mean, Barisic is right there on the sidelines. He could stand like that and it's hitting him right in the nostrils. That is how perfect that ball is for big Connor Goldson, and taking nothing away from Barisic as well. He brings it down perfectly. The Hamilton defender tries to get the ball, but Barisic ends up just sort of knocking him on his arse. And does he panic in that situation? Does he try and just throw a cross in? Not. Head up, sees Davis with all the time in the world. Davis stops the ball. Now, again, Davis maybe not got the legs that he once did, but if you give the guy time and space, he will punish you, and that's what Hamilton gave him. And just look at the quality of that cross. Now, the cross does come in, and I'm pretty damn sure it is Roof's header that ends up hitting the bar, so he is very unlucky. But what isn't unlucky is the fact that we've gambled, and we've got people in the box and at the back post. Son, we've all been praying for on this channel, and the guy who was at the back post was Hadji. He gambled, he stuck in there, and he got his reward with a tap in, which is massive for him and us, especially up there on that surface. And aye, it was a scrappy goal, but I couldn't care less. That will be massive for Hadji, because this is a young lad who's came here with a hell of a lot of expectations. He's already gave us a couple of very good moments, but there was some critics, there was media starting to take wee digs at him, maybe calling him a potential flop so far of the season. But they kind of performances and that getting on the score sheet is of course going to silence him and get the boy back on track, because I just think he's been lacking just that little bit of confidence. But look what happened the second he scored that. Look at the game he went on to have. Nearly faultless. But speaking of faultless, I can't go any further in today's video without mentioning the man Ryan frickin' Kent, who in my opinion was head and shoulders above everyone on that park. And I'm not saying that lightly. This isn't a performance where we were half at it and we weren't at our best. I thought we were actually very good in this game, but he was just shining above everyone, because this is a lad that we spoke about during the break, right? Even before a ball was kicked this season, and I picked him as my #1 player to look out for in this season, because this is the first time ever at his Rangers career that he's been able to come here, have a pre-season and be fully fit. And just look at what the guy is doing. He's already up here and he's building on it every single game. And you look at every aspect of what we did in that match versus Hamilton, Ryan Kent was the heart and soul in nearly everything. And he's just a frightening footballer, ladies and gentlemen. So it brings me so much joy that I get to talk about him a wee bit more, because just 4 minutes after we opened the scoring with what we just spoke about, Ryan Kent picks the ball up in his own half, I believe, sprints down the left, couple of wee fake shots, but the chop inside, the chop as Ryan Kent is absolutely frightening. And he was very unlucky versus Livingston, but this one comes off so nicely. The Hamilton player is all air. this shot. He cuts inside, he forces a very good save from the goalkeeper, but the winger, aka Tavernier, is there to slap it in. And again, we are gambling, we are getting people in the box, and we're getting our due, ladies and gentlemen, because that right there is 2-0 and game over within 20 minutes. And that is what we need, because look at me, I'm clinging on to these Black Hairs, Rangers. Keep this up and I might have some by the end of the season. Now, all joking on that aside, I just want to take a wee brief second out of today's video just to give a wee bit of shout out to Tavernier himself, who has obviously got his critics, but you might have noticed he done the Wakanda celebration. That was in honour of obviously Chadwick Boseman, who did pass away this morning after his battle with cancer. You maybe know him from the movies like Black Panther and everything like that. Now, if you know anything about me, if you've watched the channel for a long time, you know I'm a massive nerd, and that news absolutely shocked me, so I just thought that was a bit of moment of class from Tavernier to show respect to obviously a fantastic man. Regarding the actual football action, we didn't take the foot off the pedal just yet, because I don't know, 60 to a minute and a half later, after we made it 2-0, we nearly made it 3 after a bit of brilliance from Stephen Davis, who is really coming into his own. Now we're only playing with one defensive midfielder. I feel like it's freed him up as well. I feel like Jack had his best game in a long time, and this is the best I've seen Stephen Davis for a long time as well. He just gets the ball, he's got so much intelligence and so much awareness, he doesn't even need to look. Hadji and him's on the same wavelength. It's a beautiful chipped ball behind the low block of Hamilton, and Hadji meets it perfectly, maybe too perfectly, as my dad used to say, because he's absolutely rocketed it, but the goalkeeper's made himself big and he stopped it from being free. But unfortunately for us all, it wasn't, and maybe the next two highlights should have probably told us it wasn't going to be quite such a beautiful scoreline at the end of the game, because just a couple of minutes after that chance and fantastic save from the goalkeeper, Ryan Jack wins the ball back, he's powering, he's going forward. That's the box Ryan Jack we all know from last season. He seems to have got the handbrake took over him after the last two games in tweaking tactics, and I like this. This is when Ryan Jack's at his best, because he gets his heat up and he plays a very similar long through ball like he did versus Marseille last season for Daniel Koundé to score, but this time it's to Ryan Kent. Now it is a wee bit wider, he maybe should cross it into Roof, but he tries it in the first time volley, but unfortunately it goes over the bar. But it's safe to say Ryan Kent did make it up to Roof just a couple minutes later, because Rangers are trying to get things going. Hamilton do well defensively, but they're hesitant on the ball. Roof comes out of nowhere, wins the ball, gives it to Kent. Kent's powerful, he's direct, he goes in the box and just does one of his Kent chops. It's absolutely beautiful. It gives Roof the perfect opportunity to get his first goal in the game and make it 3, but unfortunately his left-footed shot is just over the bar, and a massive chance went begging. And that's sort of the story of the second half. Of the first half, it made sense to me. I don't know why I've said it, hopefully it does to you, because in the 35th minute, I can't believe the amount of space that Barker actually gets in. Ryan Kent, again, obviously involved in everything. He actually wins the ball back, finds Barker, slips a ball to Barker. He's on the left-hand side. There's only one Hamilton defender back, and Roof's here. Now, Barker kind of just seems to be very hesitant. He doesn't know if he should be running towards the box or waiting for Roof. He seems to do a kind of mixture of both of them, and just kind of jogs up, sees Kamal Roof, decides not to pass to him, tries to beat the man, he doesn't, and it ends up being a goal kick. And if you're looking for a wee quick summary of the second part, that was it for me. Not quite sharp enough and clinical enough at the key moments to really make this a tidy scoreline. And the second half saw more of the same from Rangers, especially in the first 15 minutes of the second half, because we just went after Hamilton, and it went after Hamilton, who, to full credit, did stick to the game plan. If you catch my previews, I feel like my content is getting better. I obviously broke down how Hamilton were going to set the 4-4-2 with the two forwards. One of them drops a wee bit deeper while the other one goes wide. I feel like the content is getting better, so if anyone did watch those videos, you would have saw how Hamilton played, and that's the exact game plan they stuck to. But I was so impressed with how Rangers just countered that and just nearly nullified it completely. But we do go to the 49th minute of the game, where Ryan Jack started to truly heat up, and he nearly gets an absolute fantastic assist that Ronaldinho would have been proud of, because the ball's kind of bouncing about the place. It goes just outside the box, but Ryan Jack is at the edge and he hits a first time outside of the foot right curl pass, and it just kind of curls right into the path of Barker, who takes a beautiful first touch, and you're thinking, go on me man, go on BB, let me tweet you out the best BB for a joke online. But unfortunately his shot does end up just slicing wide. So as a Ryan Jack guy, I was very upset with Brandon Barker, and I was even more upset a couple minutes later, because again, Ryan Jack and Ryan Kent just combining on that right hand side. Jacko wins the ball, gives it to Kent. Kent runs down and it looks like he's going to hit across to the back post, but he just does like a kind of no-look shuffle pass in to Ryan Jack, who does try and find Roof, but the rebound does go up in the air, and Jacko tries, I'm going to say meant it, a looping outside of the foot volley that crashes off the post, and you all know what that would have meant to me. But aye, that's just a reminder where we can't all have good things. But the chances galore in that lightning start from Rangers at the start of the second half did start to maybe go back down to second gear. Know that we were full at it and going after them full throttle. Still, I think we had more to give in that game. Our team, we were maybe at 3, but we just turned it down to 2 after that, and maybe just started to take the foot too much off the gas because Hamilton started to grow into the game. Not that they were ever threatening too much around about this time, but it was a long shot here, it was forcing corners here, but their willingness to attack and go after Rangers did actually spring us into the next Rangers chance, where we caught them with a fantastic quick counter-attack led by your man Hadji, who again was full of confidence in this game. He's positive, he runs with the ball, he finds, it's over actually to Ryan Kent on the left hand side. Now Barker is there, and I feel like maybe Barker should have just been springing it, but I felt like Barker was losing his confidence where Hadji was rising. I felt Barker was unfortunately dropping as the game went on after a couple of wee hangs never happened for him, and it started to go bad, because I feel like if he burst a gut to get there, Kent would have found him, but it just kind of slowed down a bit, and Kent ended up having a shot anyway, and Barker didn't even complain that he didn't pass it, and that's a wee bit disappointing, because I know it wasn't a great game by Barker, right? I'm not going to sit here and put the blue tinted specs on and say he was brilliant in the game, but what I can sit here and say is he certainly gave it his everything, and I mean, that's all you can really ask for a Rangers player. Clearly Steven Gerrard sees something in the laddie, and he has shown flashes, but it is frustrating for him because he is getting chances and he is getting opportunities, but it's not quite happened for him as the full package yet. But from that counter-attacking opportunity, again, it was made of the same Hamilton dying to get forward and stop us from beating the record. And in between, round about this time, by the way, we had our usual non-penalty call from Welly Collin, where yes, maybe Kamal Roof does go down it a bit too easily, but it's quite clearly a push on his back. And for whatever reason, Willie Collin actually ran up to Roof and went, "No, you pushed first," but didn't give Hamilton a free kick, and then the replay showed it quite clearly didn't push the Hamilton player, so I don't know what Willie Collum sees. But thankfully our performance was good enough. We didn't need to rely on his limp abilities as a referee, because there was another good moment in the 70th minute where Hadji and Kent was combining. It's a fantastic block by the Hamilton defender. There was more of the same a couple minutes later in the 71st minute, but the next big talking point in this game was the record was nearly stopped by Hamilton from a corner kick. Now I believe it was their second one in a row. It is a fantastic header, but big John McLaughlin is there with fantastic reactions and gets it not only away, but made sure it was going into an area where it couldn't hurt us. And I just thought that right there, yes, he wasn't busy or anything like that in the game overall, but those moments right there is why John McLaughlin is staying as the #1 goalkeeper from Rangers. And there's more headaches to come for Steven Gerrard, because you know what Shagger will be thinking about all of this. But with that reaction save to keep this record in place so we could go ahead and break it, can you argue with what Gerrard's decided? Now the last big talking point from the game of football was obviously in the 76th minute, where again it was mostly Hammond around about this time, but we catch him on a counter attack. Barker shows just what an absolute pace merchant he is, because he just roadrunners his little ass right in front of McCann, who has to obviously bring him down, or something. Sorry, McMahon. Did I say McCann? I don't care. Anyway, he gets sent off, ladies and gentlemen, where it is a second yellow card. Easy decision. I don't expect anyone to be complaining about that. But before we finish up the old game recap, we do have one last thing to talk about, where our boy Kamal Roof has blood on his hands, because I'm sitting here with Barisic as my captain, and in the 78th minute he whips in a wonder cross. Roof, square in the middle, big boy, get that header to it. He does, but it's unfortunately that much early bar, and my fantasy team is in ruins because of that miss, Kamar. I don't like that. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the game recap done and dusted. Our club record has been broken for the best start to a season without conceding a goal, but also a wee cheeky SPFL record was broken as well, as this is the best start defensively any team has had. That's kind of where I want to go before we actually finish up today's video and get to the Twitter comments, and obviously for you guys to fire yours. I just want to give a wee bit of love to this defence, because I keep hearing, and it's always a cheap dig, Tav can't defend, Connor Golton's a liability, but they've went here and done things now, ladies and gentlemen, and they're putting out performance week in and week out. So I've just got to give full credit. I thought Tavernier was excellent. Again, I thought Connor Golton was CB #1 for a reason. But again, shout out to Helander and Barisic, because I actually sat back before this game and I looked at Hollander's record, because obviously I spoke about him before the season as potential key player for us all year, and I looked at him and I went, he's got a very good clean sheet ratio. So now that that game's done and dusted and the records are done and dusted, I'm not want to jinx it or anything like that, but he's played 22 games for us as a centre-back at Rangers Football Club. He has 14 clean sheets. Let's start putting a wee bit of respect on our defenders' names, ladies and gentlemen, because they are doing their job. But in saying all that, my man in the match isn't a defender. I couldn't sit here and pick anybody else apart from Ryan Kent. I just thought he was at a complete another different level. And that wee shimmy that he done, you're welcome for that, by the way, that's free of charge. That little shimmy that he done versus Hamilton, I absolutely loved it, and I hope it's a gift by the time this video is uploaded. So Ryan Kent is my man in the match. Now it's time for me to hand the reins over to you guys, because I want to know what your thoughts and opinions are on the game, but also who was your man in the match. And while you guys do that, I'll jump over to Twitter and read from the people. Now over at Twitter, there's been 1,893 votes. That's frightening, nation. Thank you so much. 4% votes for Ulla, 4% votes for my man Connor Golton, 10% votes for Jacko, but the far and away winner with 83% of the vote is who else but Ryan frickin' Kent. So let's see what they've had to say then, shall we? Alan Murdoch is the first one in, and he writes in, Kent was outstanding again. Pleased to get the win, but we stopped passing and moving too much in the second half. We need to be much more ruthless than this, as goal difference could come into it at the end of the season. This is a game where we would have struggled last season though, so I'm very happy. CJ Mark Keller writes in, Kent was my man in the match. Team was very good tonight. CJ Quantum Skyline writes in, hope Roof finds his ruthless touch. Well done, well done. And he builds up a bit. Looks like centre-halves fancy bullying him off the ball. Kent's attitude and hunger, though, continues to impress. Clear man of the match for me today. Charlie writes in, good performance, great game for Jack. Thank you. 3 points and a clean sheet. What more could you ask for? A Ryan Jack goal. That's all I wanted. That's all I want. I had you writes in, Fort Tav had a solid performance. Good to see him chipping in with a goal. Also, absolutely. Chris writes in, Kent, but thought Stephen Davis was a close second. Brilliant to see Davey getting some love. Mark Mitchell writes in, Kent was everywhere today. Man of the match for sure. And the last 2 or 3 that we'll read out from tonight's video. Toasty writes in, Kent, hashtag 55. Willie writes in, Kent for me today, CJ, just unplayable. As usual, the guy's a menace to anyone and is good, and it was a good team performance and another clean sheet. Couldn't be any happier than that. And this is why we do it. Kimberly's the next one in, and she writes in, man of the match all day long is Kent. McLaughlin made some good saves. Really, really liking him. It's good to see Tav getting a goal as well. And the last one we'll read out in tonight's video, scroll all the way up here, scroll all the way, actually I didn't. I'll just stop it here. Bobby Wallace is the next one in, and he writes in, Kent for me a lot more positive than last year, and a big shout out to John for that save to keep the clean sheet record going. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people, you've heard from myself, and if you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. Before we wrap up today's video though, I need to give a quick shout out to you guys. You've been supporting the channel so much. We are trying to dream for 55k subscribers on this channel. The support's been brilliant, ladies and gentlemen, so I just wanted to give a thank you and a shout out to everyone who is hitting that subscribe button. It is free, and it's honestly, it's just mind blowing every time I check the old numbers. The road to 55k is truly on, and it looks with performances like that, the road to 55k is cool inside it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I've been CJ Nova 92. That's been Rocky Boy Johnson. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.